Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Avery. I'm CTO at Expertus, an IBM company. Today, I'll be telling you how a hybrid cloud strategy can accelerate your digital transformation. The cloud has gone a long way since its beginning. The story begins way back in the 70s or 60s and 70s when mainframes were at the heart of all computing. Then there was the client-server movement in the 80s and 90s, which is also where x86 virtualization began. This is also when the first SaaS offering saw the light of day, with Salesforce at the epicenter of that revolution. In 2006 is when AWS launched its first public cloud with EC2 and S3 offering. That's when the cloud really started as we know it today. More recently, it's more about edge computing and distributed cloud, bringing resources even closer to users and also increasing resiliency along the way. There's also more cloud adoption today from organizations that have a hybrid cloud strategy in place. The pandemic we're currently living has definitely accelerated cloud adoption. The lockdown and remote working required by COVID-19 pandemic were an unprecedented check for many organizations. Restrictions imposed by the pandemic turned our world upside down, with industries like travel and hospitality going bust, and many businesses also experiencing survival challenges. Just a few months into the pandemic, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said that the company had observed 2 years of digital transformation in only 2 months, as its customers started adopting cloud solutions. According to Gartner, in the aftermath of COVID-19, the worldwide spending on public cloud service is forecast to grow almost 19% in 2021 to a total of $305 billion. In 2021, financial institutions will need to determine their commitment to improving digital banking experience and prioritize technology investments to support a multi-channel future. In other words, organizations of all sizes will need to evaluate their digital transformation journey in light of what has occurred in 2020. A hybrid cloud strategy can assist with many of these initiatives. There are numerous reasons that are preventing financial institutions to fully embrace the cloud. I like to categorize those in 4 large buckets. Without rehashing everything into great details, I simply want to highlight some of these challenging areas. The first big area is the legacy, right? You have like old technology, hardware coupling, old network architectures, scalability concerns with applications that haven't been built to run on the cloud. There's also security side of things. There are data breaches and leaks, multi-tenancy data isolation concerns, and cloud-specific vulnerabilities. And then there's organizational challenges, which are a very important part. So there's new processes, new tool chains, new technologies, and there's limited in-house knowledge in regards to all of these things, and they keep changing so quickly. So it becomes very, very challenging. Last but not least, this is like the compliance and legal area. This is particularly true for the financial sector, which is very demanding with all of the governance concerns and all these different compliances that companies need to follow. What's interesting to note about all of these challenges is that they all still are present. And in fact, they've actually increased significantly between 2019 and 2020. Data residency, regulation, security, they're all at the heart of why organizations are still waiting, still wanting to keep off the public cloud. And that's why a hybrid cloud strategy makes all of its sense, and it can help, as we'll see a bit later. Your cloud transition is not a project that will happen overnight. It's typically a multi-year journey intertwined with other projects. And all of these projects, they need to coexist and work together seamlessly. It's like a juggling act. And in the middle of that juggling, someone throws more items at you while you're juggling. For example, to briefly talk about Expertus' own journey, Expertus adopted an ASP SaaS operating model in the early days when that first was brought popular. Back then, though, everything was 100% data center backed, so no cloud. That did not exist back then. And approximately 4 years ago, that's when we embarked on our own hybrid cloud journey, which is still going on today and not close from being finished, as things are always evolving. We started by bringing part of our services like MFT, which is our managed file transfer, to the cloud, while keeping other components on-premise. We also started developing cloud-native solutions, like EPS, which is our native cloud payment solution. But yet, we still left some of our other pieces of software, like our Swift Service Bureau on-premise. Our future has also a strong pipeline in regards to that journey, as we now need to take each of our existing clients and their applications and move them to the cloud. This is going to take time, but each application and client needs to be looked into one by one. The cloud isn't a silver bullet either. Cloud infrastructure can fail, so you need to have a good strategy to mitigate potential downtimes. Cost controls and monitoring also need to be looked into, because it's no longer a fixed price, but rather you're paying for individual or actual resources that you're consuming as you're consuming them. So your cloud journey is a little bit like the Journey song, "Don't Stop Believing." Research shows that overall industries are still planning on spending a lot on their on-premise hardware. That number is even higher in the financial space. What this means is that the industry, although adopting the cloud, is still spending a lot on its on-premise infrastructure, and that's where hybrid cloud strategy makes all its sense. So what's a hybrid cloud, and what strategy should you have around it? This is what we'll be looking into in the next couple of slides. Keep in mind that there's no one-size-fits-all around hybrid cloud strategy. You need to build your own strategy tailored to your own needs and your own specific situation. Also keep in mind that you'll reap the benefits proportionally to how much you invest against that strategy. Simply doing the minimum might not cut it. A hybrid cloud approach allows you to advance through your cloud journey incrementally. Rather than trying to identify which big bang approach would work best for you, instead, try to identify those low-hanging fruits and start with those. This will also allow you for experimenting and also fine-tuning along the way. You won't get everything right the first time, that's fine, but plan accordingly. A hybrid cloud approach allows you to leverage past infrastructure investments, which can still be used for those workloads that you feel should remain on-premise. This is what also Expertus did when it started working with the cloud. Many of its systems, even today, still run on-premise, but some are also running off the cloud seamlessly and communicating with each other. You spent a lot of time and energy on your existing on-premise infrastructure, so might as well leverage that and make that investment an integral part of your hybrid cloud strategy. This is what hybrid cloud is all about: seamless integration of systems on and off cloud. A hybrid cloud approach allows you to write business logic and have it run anywhere. As part of its current cloud journey, Expertus, once again, to take that as an example, is now moving towards having its EPS payments platform running on multiple cloud infrastructures. To do so, we'll be using a containerized approach where Red Hat OpenShift will shield away the underlying infrastructure for us. This way, our application business logic code, it can be the same and it can run on any cloud, even supporting on-premise deployments as well. A proper hybrid cloud approach allows you to remain independent from the underlying cloud infrastructure and its vendor, allowing you to move to another vendor as you see fit. As part of its initial plans, to take Expertus again as an example, we focused all of our efforts on AWS cloud. Now, using containerization, our next step into our journey will be to be able to run our applications across multiple cloud vendors. As mentioned earlier, cloud infrastructure can fail too, just like anything else. A proper hybrid cloud approach should involve multiple availability zones, multiple regions, and in some cases, even multiple cloud infrastructure vendors to increase resiliency in the event that a vendor is totally failing. A hybrid cloud also allows you to have your solutions scale to meet peak demand, where your own on-premise infrastructure might not be sufficient. You don't necessarily want to buy additional permanent hardware on-premise, but instead offload that additional traffic or that load to the cloud for processing when that load occurs. This way, you only pay for what you're using and only when you're using it. Any hybrid cloud allows you to keep certain workloads off the public cloud. This allows you to remain compliant where it matters and also leverage the public cloud where it doesn't. Not all clouds are equal. In certain areas, a certain cloud infrastructure vendor might have a superior offering than another one. For instance, IBM as its financial services cloud offering, which is a cloud infrastructure designed specifically for financial services space and their needs. At the core, it has all of the compliance, regulation, and security concerns addressed that are specific to that industry. With a hybrid cloud approach, you could choose which workload you're sending to IBM Cloud, Microsoft Azure, or AWS, based on the strength of each of those cloud vendors and the type of workload that you're dealing with. You're not going to ask a Chihuahua dog to protect your house, nor would you want to adopt a German Shepherd if you live in a tiny condo, right? Well, same applies for your cloud infrastructure. Since we're talking about having workloads running on different cloud infrastructures or on-premise, it becomes even more important than ever to have visibility on what's going on and where. With a proper hybrid cloud strategy and model, you should have a control plane in place that allows you to monitor things wherever they're running and whenever they're running. Like mostly everyone, I'm pretty sure your digital transformation was accelerated by the pandemic. A hybrid cloud strategy is definitely an accelerator to that transformation roadmap, as it allows you to incrementally move workloads and not wait to get everything all done at once, which would be a forever project. There are 4 different approaches to moving your workloads to the cloud. You can either build your cloud solutions or applications yourself. That's probably the longest path. Then you could also migrate those existing workloads using a lift and shift approach with virtualization. Another option could be to modernize those existing applications as you move them to the cloud. And last but not least, leverage third-party vendors that have industry solutions that address your requirements. The last approach is definitely and by far the most appealing, as it allows you to accelerate and scale your digital transformation journey by leveraging proven recipes from people that have already done and solved these same problems you have before you. Let's briefly discuss what IBM brings to the table in regards to a hybrid cloud. IBM Red Hat provides OpenShift, which could be at the forefront of your hybrid cloud strategy. It provides for running workloads on any cloud infrastructure or on-premise. It also provides for a control plane, allowing for seamless monitoring across cloud infrastructures as well as on-prem. It's definitely a leading solution in its category, and it can help accelerate your digital transformation journey from your tailored hybrid cloud strategy. IBM's approach to hybrid cloud is not only about software, though. It's also about hands-on expertise with professional services that can help, that can be leveraged as part of that journey. People that have already gone through this already can help you through your own journey. As mentioned earlier in this presentation, IBM also provides its financial services cloud, which is an industry-tailored version of IBM Cloud, but made specifically for the financial sectors, taking into account the realities of that industry. I'm going to stop here, as I don't want this to sound too cheesy or make it look like a sales pitch, but IBM could be your one-stop shop to help with your hybrid cloud strategy as well as your digital transformation journey. And I hope it was a presentation that was insightful and that you can appreciate how your hybrid cloud strategy can be accelerated and how it can be part of your digital transformation, as it's instrumental to that journey. Remember, it's all about the journey, not the destination. Thanks for your time and have a great day.